Yo, what's going on everybody? Welcome back. Today, as you guys can see, I'm doing a deck profile on Standard Sprite Brothers. So this deck I actually ended up taking to Team League for Toronto, which was just on the 13th. I went with a pretty big group of friends. We were all there. It was a great time. But yeah, this is the deck that I was playing. So a couple of my matchups that day. I think my first was Great Nature. I was against Great Nature, one Great Nature player, I think 2 or 3 Gold Paladin players, 2 OTT players, 1 Royal Paladin player, and 1 Shadow player. Did pretty okay in the Force matchups. I won my Force matchups, but the Protect and the Excel matchups were very hard because against Excel they just early rush you grade 2, and yeah, that really hurts because I couldn't keep the cards that I wanted to keep in my hand. I remember one of the matches I won to pass someone. Of course he passed, so I ended up having to take damage when I really didn't want to. And I remember that game I also could not damage check a trigger if I even paid for it. I could not. So it was really tough, but yeah, this deck was able to really surprise some people and got pretty good results in my opinion. I didn't see anyone else playing this deck. If you were at Toronto Regionals and you were also playing Spikes, let me know, because I'm kind of interested to see if any of your stuff is different from my stuff. Get a couple opinions. But yeah, this deck definitely needs some support. It's not in the highest of tiers, I would say, but you know, it is what it is. I had a lot of fun playing this deck. It was great. My team were X2 on the day. Unfortunately, we didn't make top cut, but hey, that's okay because a lot of people were X2. Without further ado, this is the deck profile. So, to start off, we are starting, of course, with our standard starter. We have Mecha Trainer, which is on ride, draw 1. Standard, everything. It's the same for every single clan right now. Moving on to grade 3s. We have the VR, the backbone of this deck, which is General Seafried. General Seafried is very important to know, to note that the first skill is not once per turn, so you can resolve it as long as you have open counterblast and as long as you have rear guards to shove into soul. So the skill is counterblast 1, shove a rear guard into soul, call out the same copy, and the one that you called and the Vanguard also gains plus 10 each. So you gain plus 10 on board, which is pretty good. And you can keep just doing it, just as long as you have Counterblast open. So that really helps kind of overwhelm your opponent with big attacks. With Protect, it's really hard. You really just hope that they don't have extra PGs in hand, like drop PGs. But if they have Protect markers, they'll just drop it if you just show them a big number. They just drop Protect marker and just tell you to shut up. But yeah, second skill for this guy is on hit anywhere, so either rear guard or Vanguard. You can Soul Blast 2, retire one of their rear guards, and restand one of your own. So say for example you have a force marker under Vanguard and you do the skill twice, you can have Juggernaut Maximum on board, and then if you do the skill twice, this will be at 43, and this will be at 33. So sometimes I'll swing for 43 at a rear guard, and they'll want to guard it just because if this hits anywhere, something like this can restand a 33k column, sometimes even bigger, and that's even before trigger checks. So even if you check a crit or whatever, you can all stack it on here, especially if they're letting it hit. You can stack crit here, power here, so this now becomes 53, 43 or anything like that. I've swung with this for 53 and above multiple times during my plays testing. It's a pretty good, this you really need. So of course, moving on to the next grade 3, you guys just saw it, is Juggernaut Maximum. Juggernaut Maximum has 2 skills. First is on Vanguard and Rear Guard, where it's on place, plus 10k to itself. And then second skill is at the beginning of main, you can shove this guy into soul, call out the same copy from deck. And again, it gets the plus 10. So it really just helps kind of start steamrolling your plays and stuff like that. So you want to try and protect this as much as you can, but you do have ways that you can cycle back from drop to your deck and I'll get into that later. But yeah, this guy also has a grade 2 kind of clone, but the only difference is it's not on Vanguard, just rear guard. So we're talking about that. Let's show it to you. So second skill, no, it's actually grade 2 of grade 2 version of Juggernaut Maximum. 10k base, on place, plus 10. Second skill, same as Juggernaut Maximum. Beginning of main, shove her to soul, and calling out the same copy of herself. So you pretty much have options if you really want to hit it. So, and my favorite, I think, grade 2 of the deck, Treasured Black Panther. This is King T'Challa in card form right here. It's really good. Soul Blast 1 on attack. You can have it gain plus 5 or 15. If you have it gain plus 15, you can just put this guy into soul, so he just pays for himself. Your Soul Blast targets with this guy is usually itself or Juggernaut Maximum if you use the skill. Just because, as I mentioned earlier, you can cycle things from drop back into deck. And this deck pretty much has on-demand shuffle from this guy. So even if you shove triggers, shove grade 3, shove grade 2 back into the bottom of the deck, if you use this skill, the first skill, you can just shuffle your deck and, you know, make it all random again. So your triggers or whatever are in the bottom. The last grade 2 that you run, 4 of, Spike Bouncer. You really want to ride on Spike Bouncer grade 2. Spike Bouncer has a skill, it's Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, on place Vanguard or Rear Guard. You can look at the top cards matching the grade of your Vanguard. So if you're using this guy's skill on grade 2, you're checking grade 2. If you use his skill on the side on grade 3, you're checking 3. And sometimes it really, really hurts when you check top 2 or top 3 or whatever, and you see like 2 out of 3 triggers. I've seen multiple times 3 out of 3 triggers. It is important to note that you don't have to call from this guy's skill because it says up to. So you can choose to call none, you can choose to call 1. So 1 is obviously the maximum, if not, it would be busted. And second skill for this guy on rear guard, Counter Blast 1, put Spike Bouncer into soul and you get a draw, which is pretty okay. In late games, you're not really gonna be on this guy on the rear guard too much. You really want your big swingers late game, and yeah, you know, yeah, you just want the other grade 2s rather, or the grade 3s. This card just helps set up. This guy, Gyro Slinger, 4 of, again, there's gonna be a lot of 4 ofs in this deck. Pretty much everything in this deck is a 4 of, except for one card, which you will see later. So with this guy on place, put a card from your hand into soul. You can look at the same amount of cards as the grade of your Vanguard. So say for example you mulliganed and then you drew into a heal. So what you can do is you can shove the heal into soul, and then for when you get to grade 2, you can soul blast the heal, and then you can partner that with Wonder Boy, which lets you bot deck a non-grade 1 from your drop zone to the bottom of the deck, and then boom, you have your heal cycled. Nothing to worry about. It's pretty good, especially early game, where you're not really too concerned about guarding at all, really, because you kind of want the counter blasts with this deck. So yeah, so the skill for this one is, as I just mentioned, shove a card from hand into soul, and check the top same number as your opponent's as your Vanguard's grade, and the called unit gains +5. So that's pretty good. You want to try to be on this guy grade 1 if you're going second, because you can get the call off, and multiple times I've called a Braki or a Juggernaut Maximum. So you have a 20k attacker and a 23k attacker pretty much the first time you attack, which is pretty devastating if I say so myself. I know that I've caught a bunch of people off guard with that type of stuff. And the thing that I love to combo this off with, especially early game, is Commander Gary Gannon. This guy, at first, I had him at 2, and then I realized how good of a pressure card he was. That, and on top of that, there's not really much else that you would want to play. The other grade 1s are kind of meh, in my opinion. Say, for example, you hit a Juggernaut Maximum with this guy. So you call it on your rear guard, and then you essentially just put this guy behind him. So this is a 23k attacker on its own. If you swing this, it's a 31k attacker. Especially if you hit it with this guy and you have this guy on board, they're gonna want to take this damage. And on top of that, the skill for Gary Gannon is on hit, on a Vanguard. It doesn't have to boost a Vanguard, but you can you have to hit a Vanguard to get the on hit skill off. The on hit skill is on hit, you shove this guy into soul, draw 2, and bot deck 1 from hand. So you can cycle a trigger. You can cycle pretty much anything you want, really. There's no limitations. You can put whatever the heck you want. Bot deck. It's really, really good. Gary Gannon, you want to see him early. That's why you run 4 of. And he's really, really good pressure, even late game when your opponent's at 4 to 5 damage, because they don't want you to replenish your hand, because you really, really need your hand to pop off with this deck. Last grade 1, we have 4 Wonder Boys. Wonder Boy has a skill where you can bot deck a non-grade 1 from drop back to the bottom of your deck, and this unit gains +5, so you can cycle grade 2s, triggers, or Juggernaut Maximum if you want to. And then it has a second skill at the beginning of main. If you want, you can shove this guy into soul, and then you can call out the same copy of him, and again you can bot deck it on place and have it gain +5. So this is a pretty good target right here to have on your rear guard, especially in late game. It really, really helps, because you get to, when your deck's really, really thin, when you have like 20 or something cards, you can just keep cycling those triggers back. So essentially your deck is just stacked with triggers. So the only one of in the deck is Cheer Girl Franny. She has a skill, axe skill, put her into soul, bot deck pretty much anything, you unflip 1. Simple. This is one of the things that can help you manage your resources. Personally, I've never really ran into too many problems with resource management. If I'm at 4 open counterblast, 3 open counterblast, and they're at 5 damage, you better believe that I'm shoving anything that I can into soul for a Siegfried skill, and just going all in for that turn and hope that I win, or they don't like 6 damage shield sack me or anything like that, or just PG everything. So for triggers, we do run 8 crit, 4 heals, and 4 draws here. 4 heals, 4 draws. So with this, I've tested 6 draws, but honestly, you filter through the deck so much that you pretty much see whatever you want, pretty much on demand, really, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I've had so many times where I've had 17 cards left in deck or something like that, and like a big portion of that 17 are all triggers. So whenever your opponent asks to look at your drop zone or anything, or your damage, and they don't or barely see any triggers, they just know that it's all in deck. So you can hit any one of these guys pretty much whenever you want. Like I mentioned earlier though, it does hurt when you check top 2 or top 3 and there's like 2 of these guys, 2 of these guys, 2 and 1, whatever the combination is, and you have to bot deck it. But with Siegfried, you can shuffle them pretty much on demand if you use the skill. But yeah, this is the trigger lineup that I find works best. I don't see myself changing it anytime soon, because you do value the crits, just because you need as much pressure as you can get. For protect matchups, I do suggest just stacking everything on Vanguard, like just stacking all the force markers on Vanguard, and because your sides can still hit for big numbers, so let them be concerned about guarding a constant 43k attacker on your Vanguard. But yeah, this deck performed pretty well. I don't know if anyone else played Spikes at Toronto Regionals, but yo, if you do, or if you did rather, yo, let me know. I want to see, like, you know, what's different about yours, what's the same, and everything. But yeah, as for this entire deck here, I'm pretty confident on the lineup, and it does get beat, I think, by any deck that's just faster and can just pump up a board whenever they want to. Like Excel clans like Great Nature, Gold Paladin, especially Gold Paladin. I had such a tough matchup with Gold Paladins, even Great Nature, to be honest with you. There is an out to this deck where just swing sides. You just swing rear. You just swing. Your opponent can just swing at your rear guards, and you either commit the hand to guard him, or you kind of just say, "Fuck it," and just let everything die. But yeah, we did pretty well with this. Shadow matchups, a lot of people think that, oh, it's master tire, so you just auto lose. No, actually, you really just gotta know the matchup, know what to kill when you can, and just pretty much make them play your game. This is a really, really fun deck to play. I suggest you guys pick it up when you can, if you want to, or anything like that. And yeah, I'm hyped for the support whenever it does get announced, because this deck is pretty fun. If they give it guard restrict, woo, this deck is gonna be nasty, I think. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys would do differently or the same or whatever. And you know, just give me your opinions. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Bye.